Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm gonna be giving you part 13 of What If Naruto Was a Legendary, Uchiha x Namikaze. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this with your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Asusuke clan, and enjoy that guys. And also over Anime King, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Hope of the Uchiha clan, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto met up with Kurenai. As they met up with the other soldiers that was under Kurenai's command. Arriving there, Naruto saw that they were all bickering amongst themselves. They were all hostile towards each other. Because they were all tired of fighting for so long, it was just getting too much for them. As Naruto stepped forward, he did deliver one of those powerful speeches that was able to snap everyone back into focus as he got themselves ready. When they made their way, it was nothing but chaos. It just took a few minutes and chaos sprang everywhere, as explosions and missiles were just immense, as Naruto split the company, as Mikasa and the others made their way, while him and the others made their way as well. But they were being bombarded with the missile attacks. Hisashi was by Naruto's side, Hayashi, brother, as he watched as Hayashi's wife got blown to pieces. She was a sister to him, as he watched her last dying breaths, telling him to watch over her children for her. But she fell before she could say anything else. As Naruto steeled himself as he made his way, they all made their way after they made their way down. It was nothing but chaos inside until a chakra that was so heavy swallowed the entire place. As Naruto was confused, this couldn't be a normal person. It was not. It was none other than Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto knew her from his parents' photograph, as she was said to be dead. And his parents lied to him, as Naruto didn't know what happened, but he saw the headband, the crossroad in it. She was a enemy now, as she started to fight him. As Naruto started to fight back because he couldn't let her kill his comrades, as she was out to kill anyone that got in her way. She said that everything was lost and this world did not matter anymore. She was acting rather strange as Naruto fought with her, as Naruto allowed his darker half to fully merge with him, and Naruto had to say the power increase was a lot as he clashed with Kushina, the both of them, tearing apart the entire beach that they were on. But he protected his comrades and his clones kept to the barrier so that she couldn't get by them. As Naruto started to speak to her, as he was able to place her in a quick genjutsu for her to see the people that she missed so much. Ikari noticed something was wrong with her, as she wanted to reach out, but then her mind started to change, as Naruto realized that she was under a genjutsu that was twisting her mind, telling her that this world was not worth it. She was under a genjutsu, as Kushina couldn't understand why was she fighting against her homework, the people that she loved. As her mind was being conflicted as she was transforming, the genjutsu taking over as Hikari told her to run, because if he died, his darker half also vanished as well. But Naruto looked toward his comrades as he realized if he run, they all die, as he understands his captain's sacrifice now, as he gave a salute to Captain Fox despite the man being dead, as he turned towards Kushina who was going fully into the 9 Tails power as she already reached up to 6 Tails. Meanwhile that was happening, as Mikasa was facing off against Kisame. She had trapped him inside the barrier as Mikasa had made sure that his sword was unable to reach him in time, as a seal was placed on it by Awashi. As chaos happened as they tried their best to bring him down, but the man was a tank, a literal monster. They stabbed him, they cut him, but he still kept up with them. Shizune had hit him with some poison needles that coursed to resist them. Anko tried to attack him. She was the best taijutsu user right here, yet she was obliterated within seconds. As Mikasa jumped in as she gave everything she got, the both of them clashed as her body was severely beaten and broken, but she stabbed into him As she held on to him the moment the barrier dropped, she told him to fire. As all of them released their kunais and shurikens, it impaled Mikasa all over, but she already stabbed her blade in Kisame's head as it impaled him as well. As the both of them dropped, as Mikasa last thought was sorry, as she apologized to Naruto, as she couldn't make it. So yeah guys, it was basically last we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? That's right, she has lost control, Ikario said. Even if she wants to come back, she can't. Someone's controlling her mind. As Naruto watched as the sixth tail emerged from Kushina, Naruto looked towards his unconscious soldiers. He knew that his power was not enough to fight the nine tails. He would lose. But if he ran away, his entire company would be massacred. As Kushina had lost all control now. Ikario watched as Naruto wrapped the Hiyori, the Captain Hiyori in his chest. As Naruto smiled to the heavens. Now, I finally understand what you meant, Commander Fox, he said. Maybe. It wasn't so bad I joined Black Light. You fulfill your duty as the leader of this company. And now it is my turn. What the hell are you doing, Ikario said. Don't you, but Naruto cut him off. As Naruto gained full control of his body. It's my turn to fight for them. As the second commander, said Naruto to himself. He put his phoenix mask back on. As his Mangekyou sprang to life. He looked towards the barrier that his clones were holding up. I'll have to take her away from here. There's only one way left now, said Naruto. Kushina roared as Naruto had to activate his Kamui. As the sound wave passed right through him and slammed into the barrier. He fired two explosive tags towards her, but she easily blocked them with her tails. Without wasting another second, he ran from the area. She chased after him, shotting her tails after him. He analyzed the chakra left in his body. He had no chakra pill, so he had to use his chakra really carefully. There was no way he could defeat her in his current state, but if he could snap her out of that genjutsu, there was a hope that all of them could be safe. But still, to think that the strongest genjutsu of the world was being controlled by someone all these years, it made him a bit anxious. Because there was only one thing in this world that could control a Bichu, and the answer to that was in his eyes. So there was someone else who had the Mangekyou Sharingan, and he was certainly not with Konoha. Could it be that this person was a real villain of this war? There's something really big going on in this war. It was waged by someone else. But right now I have to save Kushina, but to do that, I have to save my chakra to perform that jutsu. But if I don't use my Mangekyou, my chance of survival are slim to none. But if my chakra is too low, I won't be able to alter that genjutsu placed on her. I have to take the risk, Naruto thought tactically. That was the only way. Her chakra arms started to rip him apart, but he evaded all the strikes. He saw the seventh tail emerging. If she went fully 9 tails, his plan would fail. He flashed through hand sign as she jumped towards him. Wood style. Advent of a world of flowering trees, he said. The entire area erupted with trees all around. As pink flowers started to release gas all around him, Naruto coughed up blood as he dropped to his knees. As black markings started to spread around his body. What is this? What's happening to me? As all the markings were emerging from one of his legs, he remembered this injury, but those wounds, they had healed years ago. His entire body felt like it was on fire, and used the Mangekyou a few moments ago made his vision hazy again. He saw that Kushina movements were slow, as the gas was trying to knock her out, but she was destroying the trees around her. All of this had started years ago, and now it was getting worse. At Shanxi, he had felt the effects on his body, the strain. At the castle, after defeating the tail beasts, he had collapsed unconscious. Shizune was wrong. He was really dying. His eyes widened as Kushina fired 5 tail beasts bombed towards him. He did the only thing that he could do. Boom! The entire sky lit up brightly as they hit their target. As dust and debris blew everywhere, Kushina watched as he was blown to pieces from the attack. It was all over now. She could return to Mother Asama. Is this the death that you imagined for me? She was shocked when she heard his voice. She heard cracking as she saw him emerging from a dragon-like dome that protected him from the tail beast bombs. As Naruto got up from the ground, despite his weakness, his body was already trying to recover from the destructive battle he fought with Akirio's help. He could not trust Akirio because he knew, despite his promise, if it meant sacrificing his soldier's life, he would do it in a heartbeat. As he saw Kushina raging to escape from her bindings. Wood style, giant hands emerged around her and grasped her. Naruto felt a shock in his heart as he fell flat on the ground. More blood leaked from his mouth. His vision started to dim even more. But he had to fight or else Kushina and his village would be in great danger. The wooden hands were siphoning away the Kyuubi chakra from her body, but the more they siphoned away, the more she released. He forced himself to his feet as he started to walk. Tail beasts. Laser bullet. Naruto screamed in pain as several laser bullets infused with the Kyuubi's chakra pierced his arm and legs. Many holes in his hands and legs, but he kept on walking. Kushina growled at him furiously, but he kept on walking. The ear was so hot, some part of his skin started to burn badly. Three of her tails burst through as he stabbed him right in the chest. They withdrew as they tried to rip the arms off of her as Naruto collapsed face first. Was he really gonna die here? He heard his heartbeat decreasing, and his eyes were getting droopier and droopier with each passing second. You're my leader, Naruto. You're a great leader who possesses true power, and I believe in you. Armin gave his life, and his sacrifice would go in vain if he could not do this. She could reveal a true mastermind behind this war, and he could save hundreds of lives. As Naruto forced himself up and marched towards her to entrust the Kyuubi back to Konoha to save Kushina and reveal the mastermind behind this war. This is my best shot. He grabbed her by the face despite the chakra burning his skin as he looked her directly in the eyes. World of illusion, he said. Time skip. Medic! Minato rushed inside. The dozen medical ninjas were in a state of shock when four of their Hokage rushed inside. The person that was most shocked was Mikasa herself. She didn't know whether to be happy on seeing her husband or to be shocked to the way he was holding the four bodies of the kids in his arms. Her medical instinct kicked in as she rushed toward his side as her subordinates rushed towards the other three kids. She looked towards him with a sympathetic gaze. His entire uniform was covered in blood and his eyes looking desperate as he held a 14-year-old girl in his arm. She had black hair like her. As Mikasa looked towards her, the girl kind of looked like, well, her. Minato seemed more than worried. She knew that he cared for her subordinates, but who exactly was this girl? Mikasa placed the girl down. As she went through hand sign, what happened to her? Minato took a breath to calm himself down. He had teleported at lightning speed to get these medics towards the chief medical center of Konoha. This was the only place they had any chance of survival, considering the devastating attacks that they suffered. He still couldn't believe that they took down Kisame. They took down an S-rank missing nin. Minato! As he noticed that she was performing a massive medical ninjutsu on Mikasa's body. These four was up against Kisame. Now I see. The amount of injuries this girl has suffered is unbelievable. A crushed throat, broken ribs, fractured bones, and the amount of blood that she has lost. But the girl was still alive. There was something there that was preventing her from dying. Mikato-sama, we have to take these three to the critical section so the female made it in. What's their status? She said she still continued to work on Mikasa. The boy will make it, but these two girls needs Nanisama help right now. Get them over there immediately. As they left the room with Shizune, Anko, and Awashi. Is she? Asked Minato. She should be dead by now, but there is something inside of her that is healing all of her wounds. All of her destroyed cells are being revived. I've never seen anything like this before. Minato, I need to know everything about her. It might help me to save the other Blacklight members. How do you know they're Blacklight? He asks. She has the same tattoo on her arm like Baku. These eyes of mine remember everything, she said. She looked at her husband, his eyes were still fixed on her. She killed Kisame. What? Even he has been shocked as well when he saw her right beside Kisame's dead body. But if she was there, where was Naruto? From his sources inside Blacklight, Mikasa was Naruto's best friend. These four soldiers were the best, first company after their takeover. They fought together and they were able to take Kisame down, but they were brutally injured. They would have died there if I was not summoned through my Harashin Kunai. It's still hard to believe that they took down an S-rank missing nin. But why did this girl have your Harashin Kunai? As Mikato's eyes widened, and she realized the truth. Her name is Mikasa Ackerman, the second in command of Blacklight First Company. You may know them as Ghost Company, the ones that won at Sherry Castle. Mikasa here. She's Naruto's best friend. You have to save her at all costs. As Mikato's eyes returned towards Mikasa, she opened the girl's eyes. Her Sharingan started to swirl. Minato placed a hand on her shoulder as she glanced towards him with her Sharingan, and he felt himself being pulled. In Mikasa's mindscape, Minato was surprised he found himself in a dense forest. His wife was beside him, but her eyes was fixed over to the side. He saw three kids running through the trees. As his eyes were fixed on 10-year-old Mikasa, who ran through the trees. Is that? Said Mikato. Yes, it is her and Armin, two of Naruto's best friends. Mikato, why, are we in our mindscape? Asked Minato. I just want to see his face, to know that he's not injured. He grabbed her by the shoulders, controlled herself. You need to heal her first. You yourself said it, she was badly injured. She shook her head. Her body is not accepting my medical ninjutsu. It is healing itself on its own. By the time you brought her to the station, most of her wounds have already been healed. There's nothing I can do for her. And I also want to know how is her body regenerating itself. And her mind is the best place to start searching for answers. He agreed with that. We have to find that memory that contained information about her past. But it seems like she's currently reliving a few memories. Mikasa, Armin, are you alright? Asked a voice. Her eyes widened when she saw him. There he was, in his uniform, with a tanto on his back. After 6 years she was seeing him again. You're alive, Naruto, Armin said. I managed somehow. What about Rinjutsu and Izumo? Did you see them? Naruto asked quickly. We lost contact with them. What should we do? Said Mikasa. All three of them came to a stop as Naruto placed 2 fingers on the ground and closed his eyes. We're surrounded. They're here. Minato and Mikado watched as 4 people leaped from the bushes. 4 Kumo ninjas. As Mikasa blocked the first strike and drive her hand clinging to the man's chest. She saw Naruto fighting 2 of the other enemies. And Armin was fighting the last guy. Her eyes widened when one of the enemies jumped behind Armin and tried to stab him. Armin, watch out! As Mikasa jumped in the way, the enemy knocked her and Armin down to the ground. As Minato watched, one of Naruto's eyes turned black. Fully black. As a monstrous ki exploded from his body. Wooden branches emerged from every single trees all around and ripped apart the enemies. Mikoto's eyes went in shock. What was this? Armin rushed towards Naruto who had lost all control. Mikasa watched as Armin slapped Naruto for him to regain consciousness. The memory vanished from the mindscape. Minato blinked as he was looking into Sharingan eyes. The eyes were furious. What did you do to my son? Said Mikoto. As the scene that she saw, gore and flesh being ripped. What happened to Naruto? I swear he was not sent to war until a few months ago. He was in training for all these months. You call that training? Putting kids against enemy ninjas. This was not supposed to be their training. Please believe me. I will find out what is going on, he said. She saw the shock in his eyes. Either he was telling the truth or he was really good at faking his emotions. But even if she wanted to believe him, something troubled her. How is Naruto able to use Mokitan? What are you hiding from me, she said. He rubbed his forehead. That is because he's the grandson of Tobirama Senju, and the direct heir of the 2 Senju brothers. Yes, Mikoto, my real name is Minato Senju. And both of your sons are descendant of the Senju clan as well. Mikoto felt like she had been living her life in an entire world of lies. Just how much truth was hidden from her? I found out about this a few years ago. The 3rd Hokage and the Sanis kept this away from me. To keep me protected from the enemies my father, Tobirama, had made in the village and the world. The Uchiha. Your father was not popular amongst my clan. It was a wise decision by the 3rd. I know that the 2nd died in the war. But what about your... She hesitated, as she saw the broken look in his eyes. She died, giving birth to me. Minato said sadly. Minato, she said, I know I've kept a lot of truth from you, but the situations were never in our favor. We were at the brink of war. You were pissed at me and Naruto, so I decided to keep everything until my family was reunited, and I can tell all of you my truth, but I've been waiting for that moment for the past 6 years. As he released a tired sigh, this is the reason I want our sons live a normal life. This world is full of lie and deception. Fortunately, Itachi is safe in the village. He writes to me regularly. At least one of my boys living a normal life. He even wrote a few letters to Naruto, but he never replied. He didn't even try to talk to me. Does he really hate me? She asked sadly. Have you forgotten how much he loved you? And it's because how much he loved you that is why he never replied to you. Because he knew you will see how much pain he was in. Ever since childhood, he always tried to do things alone, and always rely on himself, never showing his pain. He was given command of an entire force on Shanzei when his commander died. He watched as the entire team got killed in front of his eyes, but despite that, he took charge and led his forces against 4,000 enemy soldiers. But most of all, he blamed himself for breaking her heart, and he still suffered till this day. Tears slipped from her eyes as she realized. Both Minato and Mikoto found themselves standing in front of a small cottage, as Armin and Mikasa was sitting near an unconscious Naruto. Armin, that jutsu that he used yesterday. It was, I know Mikasa. He is still not able to control his Mokitan power. But more than that, he can't control his emotion. Mikasa, if he used that power again, recklessly, it might even kill him. Mikoto looked towards the 2 kids, who looked after her son, and she was grateful for that. Minato watched his son woke up, as Armin placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You okay, buddy? Armin asked. As Naruto looked around hazily, and saw the both of them beside him, the memory of that fight came back to him, as his heartbeat started to increase and he started to sweat. We're safe now. You need to rest. Mikasa and I will keep watch. Don't worry, said Armin calmly. His eyes softened when he saw Naruto's hand that was shaking badly. I can't control this power. I could have killed both of you. More reason for you to learn how to control this power. Being steak is not the ideal way to die, she said jovially. Both of the boys blinked in shock. Did you just crack a joke? Bam! She punched him over their head as Minato started to laugh. This girl reminds me of you, he said as he looked towards his wife, who laughed a bit as well. Don't worry, Naruto. Even if your power is a pain in the ass, we'll help you control it. As Naruto gave him a smile as he smiled back. Mikasa was happy that the three of them were such close friends. It reminded her of something in the past. I hope she's alright, said Mikasa. Are you talking about Kushina? Asked Minato. These kids, they were kind of like us in the past. Mikasa is the same as you. Tough, but soft on the inside. Armin is like me, and Naruto is a lot like Kushina. Do you think we'll ever see her again? What happened to her was partly due to us. We should have done something more. She was our friend, after all. And when I look at these three, it reminds me about the mistake that we made. They chose to stick to each other forever, while he placed a hand on her shoulder as he pulled her into a hug. I'm sure that we will see her again. She will soon realize that Konoha is her home. Something or someone will bring her back home. And we will make sure her team is never broken again. As she heard determination in his voice. Yeah, she said. That was what she needed at that moment. Aren't we spending a bit much time in here, he said. No. Only a second has passed in the real world. And she's reliving all of her memories. So it's rather hard to find the memory that we need. He nodded at that. If that is so. I want to also know what Baku did in the past 3 years behind my back. If he did something inhuman, then Konoha will have one less Blacklight commander, no matter the consequences, said Minato. His tone was serious. Minato, does Naruto love Mikasa? She asked hopefully. She knew that Minato must have kept the eye on their son, and she could see herself in Mikasa, and from what she had seen in this girl. She was one of the most important persons in Naruto's life. Minato chuckled a bit. I think so, he said, considering that he kissed her once, and he has been by her side for the past 6 years. I think they are more than just friends. Commander Fox told me that she risked her life without him thinking of her safety to save him. He what? Asked Minato cringed when she yelled in shock, but that was to be expected. Well, it was accidental, far as I know, but he kissed her nonetheless. Fortunately, she did not send him sailing into the wall, like you did to me. What about him? Does he love her? I don't know. Ever since he joined the war, he has lost friends after friends. And he has to be strong for everyone else because he's a commander, so he sealed off his emotions. After Armin died, he has not been the same. I look at his reports regularly. Mikoto, heartfelt pain. Why? Did such a nice boy have to die? He was one of her son, best friends. It was gonna be hard to impact on everyone, especially his best friend. And Naruto had to be the commander and he had to be strong. So he probably didn't even deal with it. And it was having a great toll on him. And she couldn't even be there with her son. The place started to turn red. Family. As they heard Mikasa's voice in the background. What is happening? Said Minato as he looked around. It seems our interference is altering her dreams. Seems like she's remembering something about her family. The dark red plane turned to a snow-covered mountain. They saw a tall woman standing on a cliff. She had fair skin, average height, slender build. She had black eyes and black hair, black pants and a purple t-shirt. Beside her was two little girls, with a cheerful look on their faces. Mom! It's so beautiful! A young girl squealed in delight as she ran ahead on the ice covered street on Kaizen Town. It was a small town on the border of Land of Fire. It was a normal town, nothing really special except it was the only place in the entire Fire Country that was covered in snow all year. The streets were filled with people doing their daily activities as a young girl. Short black hair ran through the street happily. Behind them, two people stood. One of them was smiling happily, while the other one looked rather stoic. Oi, don't go too far ahead. This voice belonged to the tall woman with the black hair. As she watched the little girl, their face looked exactly the same. The other girl over to the side looked really annoyed. Idiot, she said. The woman smiled, as her younger daughter had an annoyed expression on her face. Kami, she was always so gloomy, but she could not blame her for being like this. Miyako, I want to go home. I don't want to stand on this ice. The 6-year-old girl said. Her mother patted her on the head gently. There, Miyako-chan. Why don't you go and play with your big sister? Look how much fun she's having, said Miyako kindly, as her daughter looked towards her. with an annoyed expression. Don't call me by that name. My name is Mikasa, and I have no interest in acting like an idiot in front of so many people. I am not her, said Mikasa. As her mother sighed. As Mikasa walked away from her mother, she didn't like that woman anymore, after what she did. As Miyako watches her daughter, youngest daughter, walk towards one of the toy shop, she was not like this, but after everything she underwent, there had to be some repercussions. Their small family came here to start a new life, and Miyako was determined to do the best for her two daughters. A small hand wiped away the tears from her face. Don't cry, Mom. You know that she doesn't hate you, the small 8-year-old girl said. She looked like a replica of Miyako, except her eyes were brown. She inherited them from her father. I know, Haku-chan, but it pains me to see her like this. I just want her to be happy and live a normal life. Maybe she'll like this town. Don't worry, I'll look after her, Haku said, as a hopeful look came in her mother's eyes. Haku was her first child. She was 8 years old, but she possessed wisdom far beyond her age. She was a kind, caring girl who enjoyed life to her fullest, even after everything their family had to go through. She never became depressed, and she always tried to help her mother and a younger sister, who she loved the most in the entire world after Miyako. And then there was Mikasa, her younger daughter, the princess of the family. In the past, Mikasa was just like Haku. Miyako could still remember the mischief that Mikasa used to do. But everything changed the day that Gray died. The person that Mikasa admired the most in this entire world. Since that day, she closed herself off. But her mother felt the darkness inside of her, the hatred of revenge. I will seal that darkness away, Miyako said. Time skip. They were seated in the house. As Mikasa was silently eating, while Haku was talking with her mother, Miyako decided to bring Mikasa in the conversation. Mikasa-chan, would you like to enroll in the civilian school here? It's a very wonderful place for young talented girls like you. As she did not call her Mika-chan. Only one person used to call her that name, and now he was gone. Mikasa simply shrugged and continued to eat. Oi, Mom is so nice to you. Stop being a brat, and at least answer her question, Haku said. She's your mother, not mine, and I don't care which school you send me. It's not like we're gonna stay here for long. As Mikasa saw the broken look in her mother's eyes, she got her from her chair, but Haku stepped in front of her and grabbed her by the collar. Dad's death was not her fault. When will you stop blaming her? Mikasa's eyes got filled with nothing but anger. It's all her fault. She left him here to die. Don't you dare defend her, Mikasa said, as she raised her fist to punch Haku in the face. Enough! Their mother's voice cut in, stopping them from starting a fight. Mikasa, don't hate your sister. She only loves you, and don't want you to be alone. If there's anyone to blame, blame me, said Miyako. As Mikasa released Haku's shoulders. But Mom, Haku said. Her mother raised a hand, stopping her from speaking any louder. Mikasa turned around, as she was walking in her room, but suddenly she stopped. Miyako, had it been me in place of Dad there, would you have left me to die as well? Asked Mikasa. No. Then I have my answer. As she opened the door of her room. Mikasa, Miyako said. As Mikasa stopped, as she turned towards her mother, the most hateful look in her eyes. One day, I will kill you. As she slammed the door shut, Miyako went to clean dishes as Haku clenched her fists. No matter what she tried, she could not extinguish that hatred that her younger sister had for their mother. A hatred her mother did not deserve. Why don't you tell her the truth? Why should you suffer for something that was never your fault? She saw her mother had a small smile on her face. Because it would break her heart. If she knew what Gray did, she would feel betrayed. She's different from you, from the very beginning. She had trouble to express her feelings, but Gray, he was the light of her life. He was not just her father, but her best friend, and many more things. Every feelings that she could not convey to me, she could easily convey them to Gray. And I don't want her to hate her father, even if it means she hates you. Mom, you and father were not responsible for anything. She has to realize this. Don't let her hatred get any more stronger. She has already sworn to avenge father. Now she wants to kill you. As Haku watched her mother laugh lightly, she will understand one day because deep down, she loves you and me. Miyako said hopefully. And if she does not, then I will seal her hatred away, no matter what it takes, even if it means dying by her hands. A shocked look appeared in Haku's eyes. I will kill her if she tried to harm you. Slap! Haku was shocked as she touched her cheek, as she looked towards her mother. No matter what path both of you may take, never in your life are you to abandon your sister. She is family and you never abandon the people that you love. Gray wanted you to look after each other. Promise me this, Haku, asked Miyako pleadingly. Haku sighed tiredly. I promise, Mom, she said. Despite your faults, she's my sister, and Dad taught me to protect the people I love. I just can't see her hating you, knowing that you didn't leave him to die. But he was the one that sacrificed his life to buy us time to escape to far country. It is a choice that he made to protect his daughters. When Mikasa grew older, I will tell her the truth. If you tell her now, she will hate Gray, thinking that he abandoned her, and that is something I do not want. She is suffering right now. We have to constantly move, so she doesn't have time to make friends. So please, help her. As she caressed Haku's red cheek where she had given her a slap. Haku, promise me, you look after Mikasa. As Haku remembered those words her father said, it is true that she loved her sister, but she would not let her sister harm her mother. She loved Miyako more than anything else. She was her world, but still she would look after her. I understand, mother. As a bright smile came on Miyako's face, as she hugged her daughter. Mom, do you really want us to become siblings? I mean, we could become shinobis like you and dad. She broke the hug as she took a strand of Haku's hair behind her ears. I don't think you should become a shinobi. That life is full of pain and misery. And besides, we have to avoid suspicion. I'm still a Jonin, rank Nin of Kiri. Even if we have quit that life, Fire Country will never accept us if we are discovered. It took all of your father's savings to illegally enter Fire Country, and we can never be sure how these people would treat people from bloodline clans. Haku nodded that she agreed. If Gray hadn't been a Kiri Anvu, they wouldn't have enough Ryu to pass into Fire Country. But to think she couldn't become a powerful ninja like her parents was. But that doesn't mean I can't teach you and Mikasa the techniques of the Yuki clan. In secret, of course. As she gave a small wink to her surprised daughter. Miyako Yuki. She was probably one of the only survivors of the Yuki clan of Kiri. Her clan was known for their ice release and their speed. Her daughters were probably the last descendants of their clan. Ever since the fourth Mizukage started the bloodline purge, their life has never been the same. She didn't know what was going on in the madman mind when he decided to eliminate all the bloodline users. A civil war then broke out between the loyalists and the Kate Genkai users. Thousands of lives were destroyed because of this. Gray was up there in the top shift. He was able to use all of his knowledge to successfully get them out of there, knowing that they would be hunted because of their bloodline. But in the last moments Mizukage caught on to his treachery. He decided to stay behind and buy them enough time, and he fought. And his death broke Mikasa. Ever since that day, she lost all innocence and became a cold-hearted person to her mother, because her mother did not try to protect Gray. Mikasa had already sworn revenge against the Mizukage and Kiri, and this worried Miyako a lot. She saw the hatred and anger in her daughter's eyes. She was not joking one bit. Haku had accepted Gray's death and was trying to move on in their life, but not Mikasa. It has been a few months since they came to Fire Country. They had to move from town to town, but she believed that this place her family could settle down and give her daughters new memories. Kaizen was an isolated village amongst the hills. Not many people came here. It was like a safe haven free from shinobis. She just hoped her daughters could live here in peace. Time skip. Mikasa heard her door open. Go away, she said. She wiped away her tears. The next moment she felt herself being picked up and pulled into a strong embrace. She tried to fight back. Don't speak. Just rest on my shoulders. Those words broke the fight in her as she snuggled in her big sister's arms. She wouldn't say it out loud, but she was glad that she had a big sister like Haku, who cared for her despite her annoying traits. And Haku never backed down from scolding her, even if she did something stupid. Why? Mikasa asked. Huh? As she saw the look in her crying eyes. Because you're family, idiot, Haku said. Haku, you're precious to me, but I will kill Miyako one day. She's the reason why Dad is dead. Haku wiped away her tears. Then I'll stop you. If you're so determined to go down a dark path, I'll make sure I'll be there to wipe away all those foolish thoughts. Let go of the past. I can't. Whenever I think of the past, all those memories come back. I can't forget him. Neither do I want you to. Father will always be there in our hearts. He gave everything to save us, even his life. Tell me, would he be happy if he saw his favorite daughter like this? Haku said. But he loved you too. I was not his favorite, Mikasa said. As Haku smiled. I'm not jealous. I want you to know this. Your big sister will always love you. Our life is not easy, but we need to survive. Remember that. The only thing that matters is surviving. Haku did not know, but those simple words would have a great impact on Mikasa's life. Mikasa, Mom loves you too. Dad's death was not her fault. Today, you will not digest this and understand. But I hope you do soon. I'm just praying, begging, that you give our family one last chance. I lost my father too. Haku said, cutting her off before she could say anything. So I know how you feel deep inside your heart, but whining and sulking about the past will not make things better. What do you mean? Mikasa said. I will be starting my training tomorrow with Mother. She wanted to teach us our Teiki Inkai, and I want you to stand by my side as my sister. Can you do that? Big sister, you know I would do anything for you, but no excuses, Mikasa. Father entrusts us in many things, some important and some petty. No matter how much you deny it, he would never want you to treat mother like this. So you're gonna suck it up and make peace with her. And why would I do that? She asked in a cold tone. Because that was our father's last wish. He wanted us to live a good life as family. He died for you, Mikasa. The least you can do is look after the woman that he loved. The woman that gave birth to us. Her own blood and flesh. Mikasa lowered her head as she thought about it. Her father's last wish. And this was what Haku wanted. Miyako was watching the scene from the shadows as she was astonished by Haku. As she watched as Mikasa closed and opened her fists, she took several deep breaths. Fine. I will train with you, but only for Dad. I can't trust her. Haku wrapped her arms around her baby sister. But you can count on your awesome, beautiful, super cool big sister. You forgot to mention idiot too. Oh yes, sorry, I forgot to mention. Wait, what? Shut up, sneaky eyes. No, you shut it, droppy eyes. Stupid. Idiot. Both girls were interrupted when Miyako jumped in from behind and embraced the both of them. As Haku warmed into the hug, but Mikasa struggled for a moment, but she looked towards her sister. As she released her willpower, she snuggled into her mother's chest. Miyako kissed the both of them on the head. As for the first time in months, Mikasa slept peacefully in her mother's arms. I will make things better, I promise, Miyako thought. As that happened, a tall man was standing on the mountain town. He was right over the cliff looking down the village. There were some people behind him. Let's begin, he said. Meanwhile, back on the beach, present time. As they had woken up, the senior the clones screaming in pain before they poofed away. Tiger, what did Kurenai tell you? Izumo asked. Give me a goddamn answer, Rain was a curse, as they ran. They had no idea what the hell was going on, but they knew what those malicious balls of destruction was. They had never forgotten the tail beast's power, but this one is a lot stronger. She knew they were not as strong as Naruto, but they had stand beside him, fighting off against the 4 and 5 tails. But if they were so easily subdued by just the chakra alone, that could only mean one thing. They were currently in Kira territory, so that ruled out the Jaiki, because he was busy defending against Jiraiya, who was leading the charge towards Kumo. Taki had their 7 tails, but they were staying out of the war, and they had their female Jinchuriki in the village. The Nebe, the Yanbai, and the Gobe. They had all been killed along with their Jinchuriki in this war. The one tail was in the sand. They too were also staying out of this war, that only left the 6 and 9 tails, who was missing since this war began. Even if the 6th tail had returned, she doubted it would be so powerful to take out so many of them, and corner Naruto. As she looked towards Genma, she could see it in his eye. Something bad happened to Mikasa Company. It was no secret that Genma liked Mikasa since boot camp, and now, as she looked at the miserable look in his eyes, her thoughts shifted towards Naruto. In the past few days, he had done so much for her. She cared about him more than a friend would, and she knew that she would be lying if she denied that fact. She clearly remembered what happened between them before they embarked on this mission. Flashback. Rain was pouring as Naruto was standing on the edge of a ship going to Kira. There were a few more ships, as they were full of ninjas as Naruto was watching. His eyes were fixed on the island in front of him. Sounds of footsteps could be heard as Rainjutsu appeared. As Naruto glanced behind him, he then walked down and looked towards her. Say, Rainjutsu, you always want to see my face beneath its mask, don't you? A small blush came on her cheeks. You still remember that? She said. He chuckled a bit as he remembered how she wanted to see his face in boot camp. It seems like a decade ago. As he clenched his fist. What's wrong, Naruto? She asked, as a small tear slipped from his eye. She reached up and wiped away his tear. I killed him, said Naruto. As she saw, beneath that strong facade, he was still just a man. And he had feelings too. She saw how lonely he has been since Armin's death. It was affecting everyone, but him the most. Armin was his best friend through thick and thin. I told you, it wasn't your fault. You need to stop blaming yourself. You're too kind, said Naruto. I swear to protect my friends. I swear to protect my brother and my commander, but I fail every time. The first team I was sent with, I was a failure. Then Commander came, then Armin. I lost so much, and I wasn't able to protect them. I could not. Everyone looks up to me, but yet, I can't even save a friend. As he looked down sadly. I guess I'm just trash who couldn't protect my friends. Is that what you think of yourself? Naruto, listen to me. You are not trash, she said. The fact that you care so much about Armin proved how much closer you were to him. He loved you like a brother. You lead us to victory, as Shanzei. You gave us hope when there was none. You fought for us. You bleed for us. You cried for us. As she looked deep in his eyes. I don't know, he said. Armin died because of me, and I'm prepared to die to atone for that sin, he said. Do you think Armin would want that for you, she asked, as he averted his eyes. Maybe not, but truth is I feel. I feel in so many ways. Maybe. I should have died on that. Slap! He was cut off as she slapped him. Damn it. How can you talk so cowardly, she asked, as he saw the look in her fierce eyes. She believed in him, and it broke her heart seeing him like this. He admired her a lot. She was so brave and kind. She was not the strongest ninja here, but she possessed something far greater, a loving heart. His respect for her had increased. Even after Armin's death, she did not lose her will. She just kept on fighting for her friends. While I'm not as strong as you are, he said. So, you cannot live if you're not strong. Wrong. Living and fighting for your friends. That shows your strength, she said. So don't talk about dying and leaving me alone. You mean a lot to me, she said. As a few tears came from her eyes as he wiped them away with his hand. She reached forward as she pulled on his face mask. As after all this time she got to see his face. But she didn't stop there, as she moved closer, and so did he. Their lips pressed up against each other. Until Commander Phoenix. They broke away from the kiss, as Izumo stepped on the deck. Her eyes went wide, as she had her back turned to Izumo, as she realized what just happened. It was wrong, but she never felt so much passion in her entire life before. Naruto, you... In the flashback. First company as secure the northern section of the island with third company help. But, said Genma as he brought her out of her thoughts. What happened, Tiger? Renjutsu asked. They encounter Kisame. Mikasa fought him head on with Anko, Shizune, and Awashi. Izumo was shocked when he heard those words. His friends thought that S-rank missing in. This was bad. Even if they were powerful, he doubted that they could take him on. Are they alright? Is anyone injured? Asked Izumo. They defeated and killed him. But Kurenai said they were badly injured. But the Hokage came himself and take them away to the medical station. The fort? Renjutsu said. As she wondered how did he get here. He really saved them again. Naruto gave Mikasa the fort, Hiroshi and Kunai. At the start of the war, Izumo said. How do you know this, Renjutsu? Well, he does spill out of his personal problems with me. I'm his friend, Izumo said. Jinma paused, as he saw someone lying in the sand. Renjutsu saw. It was none other than Naruto himself. Izumo couldn't believe it, as Naruto was lying there, covered in blood. A large hole in his chest. No, it can't be. Naruto! Renjutsu shouted as she rushed forward. She rushed to his side as he looked towards her weakly. She started to heal him, but the hole in his chest was just too big. Jinma clenched his fist in rage as he saw his commander in such a state. Izumo placed his friend head in his lap, as he tried to give him a smile, but he coughed up blood. Don't talk, I'll heal you, she said. Hang in there, as more and more tears fell from her eyes. Not again. Not again, she thought. This was not supposed to happen. Not again, she thought herself. As Naruto raised his hand, as Izumo took his hand. You know what to do, said Naruto. A lone tear slid from Izumo's eyes. Who did this to you, brother? He asked. Kyuubi, said Naruto. All three of them were terrified when he said that word. He went up against the Nine Tails. That explained everything, that malicious chakra. It could only have belonged to the Kyuubi. So their Jinchuriki had no turned traitor. Where's the Jinchuriki? Said Genma, as he clenched his fists. No, secure this island. Stick to the mission. You can't fight her, said Naruto, as his vision started darkening. But that's an order, said Naruto, as he coughed up more blood. As he looked towards Renjutsu, tears slipping from her eyes. Renjutsu, he said, I'm right here. I'm right here, she said, just please, don't give up. There was many holes inside of him. His hands, his chest, his legs, and they could see the light in his eye were dimming away. Thanks for everything. As she tried, but she knew there was nothing else she could do. Don't talk like that, you idiot, she said, as she tried over and over. Izumo watched as Naruto breathing slowed down. His eyes started to close, as Genma knelt down. It was an honor to fight beside you. As small tears came in his eyes when he saw Naruto smile back at him. The honor was mine, asshole, said Naruto. Renjutsu felt his heart stop. She quickly started to perform CPR to pump air to his lungs, again and again and again. As She felt a hand trying to stop her. No, she said, as she tried. He's dead, Rainjutsu, Aizumo said. You're lying. He's the strongest out of all of us. He can't be dead. As she started her CPR once again, but nothing happened. Aizumo came and pulled her into a hug. She tried to struggle away, but he did not release her. After a few more moments, her struggle stopped, as she started to openly cry. Genma came forward and closed her eyes, as he pulled the cloth and covered the body with it. As he reached up shakily towards the communication device in his ear. Ghost Company had won again, but this time the price was too high. Blacklight Command. This is Tiger from First Company. Go ahead, Tiger. What's the status on the ground? Genma growled as it was a scumbuckle as he heard his voice, but he calmed his emotions right now. Miyasota Islands has been captured, Commander. The enemies have been neutralized. The missiles has been ceased. The Konoha flag is now flying high on this island, Genma said. You're late in accomplishing your task. The island should have been captured 3 hours ago. You disappoint me, soldier. And where the hell is your commander, Baku said. Genma had to hold himself back from cursing his scum. He had no respect for his fallen soldiers. Aizumo shook his head. They'd already lost enough, and going up against Baku was suicidal. Apologies, Commander. We ran into resistance of Kisame and the Kyuubi Jinjulki. He heard Baku gasp. What did you just say? This was great news. He could capture and bring the Kyuubi back to the village. Weasel, Mikasa, and her team was able to eliminate Kisame, but their chances of survival are very less. It doesn't matter, they were expendable, but I'm surprised they took down Kisame. They were at least useful for once. Aizumo had to grab Rainjutsu tighter so that she didn't grab the communication device as the girl was losing it. He placed a hand over her mouth to stop her from cursing. He had to hold himself back as well. Mikasa and Naruto was needed for Ghost Company to take on Baku if they were going to. But now they lost him. On Mikasa's point, her survival was not certain. Commander Phoenix went up against Kyuubi Jinjulki. They fought fiercely, but Commander Phoenix was injured in the battle. The Kyuubi has fled from the island, Genma said. Damn it! This was a golden opportunity for us to get the Kyuubi back. I should have known that Brat was incapable of handling such a task. Where's that fool? He won't disappoint you further, Commander, Genma said harshly. Why so? Baku said curiously. Commander Phoenix has fallen in the line of duty. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember to share to all of your friends and social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Unspoken clan, and also What If Naruto Was the hope of the Uchiha clan over an anime king, and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new to, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the anime king family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, and I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.